Good morning to you, Stephen.
Good morning, Julia.
Thank you so much indeed for joining us. I think, funnily enough, this does tie in with the Chinese spy story and the Chinese trade story, is that we're in a situation where, in terms of wanting prosperity, we're going to apparently have net zero, relying on the Chinese to make our electric vehicles and our solar panels and wind turbines and the like. And we're going to import huge numbers of people from across the world to come and provide, to be the workers in this country, and somehow we're all going to be better off, and that seems to be where government policy is now.
Yes, you couldn't be more accurate in the latter, where you talk about a government policy driven by the demands of large corporations who really do want to have more and more people come into the country. There is a philosophy within the Treasury that believes that prosperity, it can only be seen as the level of GDP in a country, so that they look good amongst their other fellow nations. And GDP increases, surprise, surprise, when more and more people come in. But it's not the only measure of wealth in a nation. GNP per person, that's how much money the country has with the numbers of people in, is going down. And that's really what most people are saying. As you import more people, their economic wealth declines, except for, surprise, surprise, those at the top ends of the income scale. And who are they? They're the large corporate managers. They're the ones sitting at the tops of big business, where they get profits based on the large numbers of the people buying their products at lower prices.
Yeah, I mean, indeed, and that's where we are. But I mean, looking at, in terms of this particular poll, 2/3 of the public saying they're dissatisfied with the government approach to immigration. I'd love to know who the third are who say, yep, just fine, very happy.
Oh, well, I've been reading the report, and actually most of that comes from those who live in London. Over 60% of people think it's perfectly okay. But of course, we know that London is not like the rest of the United Kingdom. And I'm a great believer now that in most polls, we should extricate London from it completely and have Britain versus London in terms of polling and seeing the differentials. The second element of the polling also suggests that younger people, predominantly again in London, who are showing those who support more migrants coming into the country. The reality is London is not like the rest of the United Kingdom.
Well, a huge proportion of London's population are either immigrants themselves or the children of immigrants.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, I'm Black, Jewish, Irish and English. My grandmother came from County Kildare, as I've mentioned many times, and I don't have a problem with the terms of immigration. It's just the terms of numbers that we have to look at and the economic impact it has on the country. And London benefits from having large numbers of people. But what do we see in London now? Huge increases in the price of being able to even live there.
Yeah.
So you have this differential between very, very poor people who will be able to get great benefits to be able to support housing, or very, very rich. And the rest of the people are now being squeezed into even more difficult accommodation or traveling miles away. And that is a direct consequence of volume of people in a particular city, and not being able to build the accommodation that matches that.
And that's the thing, isn't it? More and more people arriving, and we're told we need to import people for jobs. Also told that, you know, Britain isn't going to face some of the demographic crises other countries have that haven't had mass immigration. But the question is are those people who are importing, are they net contributors or not? Because just because someone is young, great, a load of 20-year-olds getting off dinghies having come from France, brilliant, we've got loads of young able-bodied men to come and do work. Are they doing work? Are they net contributors? Are they paying tax? Or are they going to be another burden on our society, whether they are judged to be legally here or not legally here eventually by the Home Office?
Well, this is where the huge argument between those like myself who say actually the young men coming over actually rarely ever bring any economic benefits.
Not as many neurosurgeons and rocket scientists as you'd expect.
Well, look, again, the economic data is always skewed. It's skewed by probably about 2 or 3 sectors of society. If you take out the neurosurgeons and the surgeons who are being paid by the state as our doctors and consultants out of the economic argument, if you take out those who are working for the investment banks, if you take out footballers and a few of the actors as well, the numbers of those who are really seriously wealthy, paying large amounts of taxation, who have come from abroad, reduced dramatically.
Yeah.
And therefore, you see the overall cost of mass migration. And it's really almost impossible to prove when you start taking into the accounts of how much it costs to have someone come over on a boat. £8 billion this year it's going to cost the government. How many of those will be able to afford to pay back in taxes the amount we've spent on them in their first 5, 6 or 7 years being here?
Indeed. I just want to ask you actually specifically on that, in terms of where we are on that. We've seen very nice weather, calmer seas on the Channel, so we've seen more people arriving. When Rishi Sunak said in January, judge me on these 5 pledges, one of which will stop the boats, undoubtedly has not stopped the boats. Is there any sign that any of the policies that he's instigating or attempting to instigate is having an impact?
No, I mean, I don't think so. Other than actually pointing towards Albania, where we can clarify that you've seen a smaller number of those people coming across on the boats.
Because they know they'll be shipped home.
Yes, because they are being shipped home, but generally the rest of the numbers aren't going to decrease. I think the estimates that the government made of around 80,000 arriving this year will probably be slightly lower if you look at them coming across the boats, Julia. But if you add them coming across on the backs of lorries, on ferries and in planes and being overstayers, last year I said about 85,000. People laughed, said, no, it was only 60. Until we now know 25,000 came over on that route as well. So I still believe this year we'll be edging towards 85,000 people again coming across to the United Kingdom through the asylum route, the illegal economic route.
Or just staying over. It's just extraordinary, isn't it? Stephen Woolfe, always so good to talk to you. Thank you very much.